Good afternoon. How are you doing today? Good. Good is good to hear, but a little vague. Would you like any tea? Certainly, it's no trouble. I keep an electric kettle here in my office for this exact purpose. Regular or decaf? I have English breakfast, Earl Grey, or a few herbal options. Great, here you go. You're very welcome. I'm doing well, thank you. What's been going on since we last met? That's good to hear. I'm glad that you've been feeling less anxious. How has work been? Well, what about it has been just okay, if I may ask? That is tough. It's always hard when you're not certain what others want from you. Have you had the opportunity to speak to your supervisor about what his expectations are? That makes sense. I can understand why you would want to avoid that conversation. But do you think that avoiding him will help you long term? Well, my suggestion would be to bring it up at your next check-in. Tell him what you've done for the presentation so far and let him know what you plan to do once the rest of the information is in. That way, if he has a preference on how it's put together, he has the opportunity to tell you before you perform the work, rather than after. If he doesn't take the time to explain what he wants, you can cite this meeting as an example of when you reached out for guidance and didn't receive it. Unfortunately, we can't pick who we work with or how they'll react to us, but we can be proactive in making sure our positions are adequately expressed. Yes, I understand that advocating for yourself can be intimidating, but unless you intend to find a new job or speak to someone above your supervisor, you kind of have to be direct with him. Do you want to practice what you would say to him to me? Would that help you feel more equipped for that conversation in the future? Okay, then I'll start. Good morning. How are things going with the stakeholder presentation for next week? Oh? It's good that you're making progress. I think that sounds good. When do I want to be done with it? Use your best judgment. Okay, I understand. Can you compare the slides to the last presentation for this group and see what questions they had at the last meeting? I just care that we aren't unprepared for any major concerns they might have. Good. Keep up the good work. How did that feel? You did a great job making sure that he paid attention to what you were asking and gave you tangible feedback. Well, while I am sure that I'm less intimidating than your supervisor, you shouldn't underestimate yourself. You're someone he should be happy to have under him, after all. So, do you feel a little more prepared for that conversation this week? Good. I'm glad to hear that you found me of use. So, how have things been going with your family? Have you heard from them recently? Oh? And how do you feel about the fact that they haven't called? Well, I think it's something we've talked about over the last several weeks. Sometimes it is important to establish that distance so that you can learn what your own feelings are rather than just going along with what your family expects you to do. I think that's a great boundary to set. You should be proud of yourself for standing up for yourself. You were taken care of, don't forget that. And do you have any plans for the near future? Going out anywhere, hanging out with friends? That makes sense. It can be hard to get back out there, especially with everything that you've had going on in the last year. The important part is making sure that you're not isolating yourself, and it sounds like you aren't, even if it's tough to get out of the house to socialize right now. What about your love life? Oh? Are you not seeing anyone right now? Did you want to be seeing anyone right now? That surprises me, given how much of a catch you are. You're deserving of that attention and care from someone else. Believe me, it's true. You're clearly selling yourself short. I'm sure there are people in your life who are already interested. You just don't realize it. I'm positive. You're a charming, intelligent, emotionally available individual who cares about the feelings of others around you. Not everyone can say those things. And do you truly believe that, or is that the negative self-talk coming from what others have told you in the past? No, sure, your good attributes don't necessarily mean that someone is already interested in you, but that attitude is so close to putting yourself down, don't you think? Good. It's important for you to understand that you have a lot to offer to someone who is interested in giving you the care, love, and attention that you deserve and haven't received in the past. Well, there happens to be someone right in front of you. My apologies. That's inappropriate of me. We should schedule our next session if you still feel comfortable seeing me again. Oh, I'm glad to hear that my inappropriate behavior hasn't made you uncomfortable. I didn't realize it was mutual, and while we really shouldn't. Shh. We have to be quiet. I have a stupid joke to make, but I think you'll just find it cheesy. Okay. And just how does that make you feel? Okay. To give another therapy cliche, why don't you take a seat on the couch?